Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Yep, it's the world's most dangerous morning show, The Breakfast Club. Charlamagne the God, Angela Yee, DJ Envy. I don't know where the hell Envy is at. You can never keep up, but we got some special guests in the building. Who we got, Yee?
Coach Gessie and Dr. Amun.
Hey.
The detox now, y'all know that I always swear by this detox. And the reason why I do, and I just want to put this out there, is I've done it, but a lot of people I know personally have done it, and it's helped them. We saw it during Ashanti's Verses. She actually did the detox and talked about it during the Verses.
So blessed.
Because we've all been, gaining that COVID weight, so.
Yeah, I think the best evidence is y'all two. Y'all look younger than the last time I seen y'all.
Man, I was going to talk. It's okay if I tap you on the shoulder? Yeah, I take that as a compliment. I mean, it's been a rough year, but, I guess just trying to live that lifestyle. We had a conversation on the phone when I reached out to you to make sure that you and the family was doing well. And, we've just been following the procedures. And, again, it's just a lifestyle. And if you're living right, even with this pandemic and through the pandemic, you find that, you get the benefits, and that's all we can say. We're just trying to keep our head above water, man.
Now, I ask everybody this question, and I want a real honest answer. It's a simple question, but I need an honest answer. How are you?
Well, it's been rough. Honestly, I'm so grateful that we have the community and the lifestyle that we preach. And really, it was an opportunity to say, are you going to practice what you preach in the middle of a real storm, right? COVID-19, the pandemic of COVID-19, financial crisis, and systemic racism that erupted, it really put pressure on all of us. Personally, I know when at the top of January 2020, I actually know for certain I contracted COVID-19, coronavirus. Actually, it was before it was, I guess, known here, but it was when it was here because I came in contact with friends who were around that New Rochelle area. Remember where there was that big outbreak? Well, we were all in a house together. Everybody got sick. And when we got tested, they said, oh, you don't have the flu. You don't have strep, you have some unknown respiratory infection. And everybody was down for about 3 to 5 days. But remember, I have pre-existing conditions. Because of all of the fibroid surgeries I have something called immunosuppression. So my immune system is compromised because of it, okay? So not knowing any of this, nothing has been known, I was down for 2 months, okay? 2 months in terms of severe symptoms. And I'm like, why? Something's really wrong. Then it came out about the virus. And then with everything that erupted with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and cortisol is a chemical reaction in our bodies, right? And when we look at the implications of being Black here in the world and in America, we already walk around in this inflammatory state because we're always in a trauma state, right? But then there are things that take it to what we call skyrocket levels, right?
Escalates it.
And when that happened, now, mind you, I live clean, I eat clean, everything I practice and I preach to my clients, I developed an aneurysm, okay?
Wow.
Today, I'm not going to get emotional. Today is actually 9 months to the day I was diagnosed with a brain aneurysm.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was from the implications of the radical cortisol, the stress trauma on our bodies. Here, we're in quarantine, everything happening with our kids, right? And then on top of that now, because my body had the immunocompromised state because of all of the feet of small intestine that have been cut out of my body from the previous surgeries. Again, this is why we do what we do, educating and empowering women. I didn't know. Had I not known this, my life would not have been even saved, first of all, right? So then, make it worse, I remember the day, August 12th, I'm in the hospital, and thank God, I preach, listen to your body. I had what you would consider the worst headache of your life. Now, you walk around and you have a headache and you're like, I'm gonna make it through. But I woke up that morning and all I could say is I said a prayer, oh my God. And I had an interview that morning, but I said, God, what's going on? And I heard the word aneurysm. And that was like out of nowhere. I emailed my doctor, he said, go to the ER because I have a pre-existing kidney condition that makes me even more at high risk for aneurysms. And sure enough, I remember them walking into this. They said, Mrs. Thompson, they had to put me on the monitor to keep my blood pressure under control so that it wouldn't cause it to rupture. All right. They said, you have a significant aneurysm. And from there, I thought, okay, this is going to be taken care of rapidly because it's an emergent state, right? But here it is. I actually had to deal with medical bias in the hospital where I had to try to convince the neurosurgeon to prioritize my case. They wanted to send me home, come back in 8 days to have this surgery. Now, you know, if I'm Becky, all I have to do is have some little Becky tears and, oh, we're going to fit you in right away. right? But right away, I'm sitting here having to say, okay, what am I going to do to have my case taken care of and not go radically crazy on these people? And I just said, listen, you know, the training I have in educating our patients, I said, listen, I will go as soon as you get my pain under control because then we know we can control my blood pressure, right? And he said, oh, sure, no problem. Days later, my pain level is still level 20. Blood pressure, they've had to come in and give me IV intervention of blood pressure. Now, I knew I had played the movie forward. I said, if I go home and my pain is untreated, right, and my blood pressure cannot be controlled, that thing's going to rupture and nobody can help me at home. I will be dead, right? How many of our people would have gone home? Mm-hmm. How many of our people, because the doctor said, no, go home, would have gone home? Fast forward, I had the surgery because I advocated. I said, there's no way I'm not going anywhere. I can't even imagine if I didn't eat an anti-inflammatory lifestyle, if I didn't have these things in place, where would I be today? You know, because if anything,
or even the education and the knowledge,
education around it. I mean, it's crazy. So I made it through that, thank God. And now, you know, that made me even more at risk for COVID. You know, I thank God. I remember the day I talked to Angela on FaceTime in the hospital. I was like, this is scary. This is crazy. And our people are being sent home to die all the time. What if I wouldn't have fought?
What if you don't advocate for yourself, right?
Yes.
Because you don't know. And the doctor's telling you go home and you trust your doctor.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. That's exactly. So that made us, for us, it was like, look, you know, our people are out here dying. We have to radically look at what we're doing to be able to access more people, educate more people, help more people. And Dr. Amun, he got COVID too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a story like that. I can't top that story.
Well, how are you, brother?
No, I mean, no, I was doing great. Like, you know, for the whole year, I was basically just going to work with my business, coming home. But I was around certain people that did not take the virus seriously, and they were still just living the life like it didn't exist. Mm-hmm. So lo and behold, this year around February, I started to coming down, and I know when my body, you know, when there's something came right, and I was like, okay, this ain't average cold. There's something really going on here. So I started to have a fever, and I had a slight cough, and one of my sons, it was his birthday today, Yishay. Happy birthday, by the way.
Yishay.
He was like, you know, that it could be just a normal cold, right? Because February is really that's like really one of the cold periods in Atlanta, right? So it could have been a climate change. But then I was like, nah, there's something wrong. And I just remember sitting down and having some pineapples and mangoes in front of me. And I was like, I can't smell these things. You know, I was like, boy, I can't smell them. And then when I started eating them, I was like, I can't even really taste them. Wow. And then that night, I had a fever that was like, whoa. And then I was coughing. Now, I wasn't having my coughing wasn't excessive. It was, but I don't cough. I don't have headaches. I don't suffer with any of those things. So I'm like, I know something is wrong. So I let that ride for a day or two. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to schedule for me to go and get tested. Lo and behold, I already knew. I said, this is COVID. I already knew to myself.
Right.
I spoke to one of my friends who was around the circle. He was already diagnosed positive with COVID. So I'm like, I know this is COVID. When I got the test, came back positive. So for like 10 days, I had these symptoms, you know, no sense of smell or taste, fever, altering, night times, getting a bit of coughing. And that was basically it, and a slight headache. So I put together a little cocktail that I made up, and I was taking that.
What was in it?
So I had I had some D3, I had some zinc, I had some selenium, I had some vitamin C,
right.
and then some of the other supplements that we had. So it was like a nice little concoction I put to myself. And another thing, I had no appetite. So I didn't have an appetite to really eat. So I was just drinking. So after 10 days, I gave it to like the 14 days of the window when they say quarantine and everything else of that nature. I went back, got retested, came back negative. But by that time, you know, I had my senses. I could smell and taste things. I gave it another 7 to 8 days, went back and got another test. That came back negative. I waited another 10 days, and then I did the antibody test with the blood. Now, I want that to come back positive.
Right, you want the antibodies.
Because I want the antibodies there, which it did come back positive. So apart from that, I was like, okay, I've had my COVID experience. And what that did, it compelled me to say, get back in these books. I need to start revamping. I need to start reformulating. I need to start restudying, researching. Like, for me, I had a very mild case of it. So I was fortunate. But I wouldn't wish this on somebody who has, you know, who maybe suffer with asthma or other
and you guys are
health
super
conditions.
healthy. So that's why you're fortunate that, you know, for yourself. Now, let me ask you this. You guys got vaccinated?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so Dr. Amun, you haven't?
I did. I just got actually the second dose about 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. And, you know, really, that's an important conversation, right?
I thought that goes against everything holistic.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So,
this is a very important conversation.
The thing is that when you say holistic, right, I think what people have to understand is that we still have science that we have to deal with, okay? So if there was a plant or a herb that is out there to prevent or to substitute a vaccination or, you know, eliminate COVID, then, hey, please inform me, because I don't know about it, and I'm a herbalist, right? So I do this for a living. So I have to be real. And you do see people out there capitalizing on this. Now, even the concoction that I made, I shared that with friends and family, even my neighbor. And they were calling me, Dr. Amun, man, that worked. Wow, man, you saved my life. I had hundreds of calls because that went around. Now, I could take that and say, hey,
don't get vaccinated.
Don't get the vaccine. I got the formula here. But
you can't,
that wouldn't be the way how science works. You see what I'm saying? Because there's millions of people out there that didn't take my cocktail, and guess what? They recovered from COVID, right? So what we have to do and what we want to do today is just present the misinformation and education about vaccinations, right? About the virus. We're not here to say we're pro-vaccine or anti-vaccine. We're not here to say anything besides we just need to educate ourselves with science, because science and the data is going to eliminate all this misinformation that's out there circling through our community, especially the Black community, right? If you look at it, you find out of all races, it's us that are in this confusion and conflict of information. So we just want to address and point out some factors today about the virus, about vaccinations, about how the immune system works. And hey, just make the choice yourself, but be educated. Make sure you're informed and make an educated decision. If you don't want to take the vaccine, know why you don't want to take the vaccine.
It has to be an educated conversation. And I think what you just said, Charlamagne, we said, wait a minute, well, doesn't that just go against everything you stand for? Well, what we stand for is really, you know, being, have a holistic perspective, integrated perspective of the truth, right? The truth is, what is it? Almost 30 million people have been affected by COVID here in the U.S. And the truth is there have been almost 600,000 deaths, right? And we are the leaders of those. I mean, you know, I had a friend who, my daughter's friend, she actually had a great uncle who contracted it from his daughter. She was asymptomatic. They did not know. The great-grandfather, who's the patriarch of the family, died. Okay, why? Because he's, you know, elderly. He had higher risk, right? And in my home, I am at the high risk in my home because of the pre-existing conditions. So it's very, you know, even though, and we have to think about, obviously, there are many reasons why, especially we as Black people we look at it side eye, right? There's a lot of distrust when it comes to the vaccine because of the Tuskegee experiment, Henrietta Lacks, how we are treated. I just talked to you about medical bias that happened in August, right? So it's justifiable right? But we have to be careful to not put this blanket radical view that actually also puts us in danger in cases where it's actually life-saving information for us, right? So it's actually even irresponsible to say, I mean, we've heard everything from, it's the mark of the beast to, it's going to change,
I heard
you're
it
going to become
causes
an animal.
infertility.
I mean,
People were
let's
saying
just
it causes infertility.
really just break it down and simplify it, right? So our immune system, first of all, our body is a remarkable machinery, right? It has a self-healing mechanism. And what happens is our body self-heals, but it has to have time to do that. So on our day-to-day basis, we are constantly bombarded with viruses, bacteria, and germs. And our immune system is constantly fighting them off. And sometimes we might have mild cases where we might suffer a little bit of a headache, a sniff, we might feel a bit down, and we might say to ourselves, I need to maybe rest today. But majority of it, we get by, right?
It's recoverable.
Yeah. And now what we have to also take in mind is that there's other pathogens that are more aggressive, right? And it doesn't give your body that time to learn and to heal itself. And COVID is one of those, right? So now what technically happens is that you get infected and the virus or the pathogen, it starts to work against or damage your cells, your infrastructure of your cellular level, and then it starts to replicate itself, right? So now your immune system is going to have to respond to this, and it's going to take time. This is a foreign entity that's just entered the body. In that time, it's learning about what's going on. This virus is causing havoc. What then takes place is the second stage of where your immune system now realizes this is a virus, we're getting infected, and it goes all out. I mean, your immune system is like that.
It's a war.
It's like that line of fire where we're coming and we're killing everybody, right? So now it hells out your white blood cells. So you got your T cells, your B cells, your natural killing cells, and they're going at it. And the symptoms that you feel of this is, pain, fatigue, inflammation. And even sometimes if you now got underlying health conditions or a compromised immune system, it could be critical. This is what they're talking about when people are dying with pneumonia and that, right? Because they just can't take it. What I like to say to people is you got to look at it like, if there's a fly in here, we might have one of them fly strips of, to get it out. Or swatter. And even maybe try to direct the fly to the door so it goes out. But your immune system is going to be that shotgun. It's going to get rid of the fly, but it's also going to put a hole in the wall. So what we have to understand is how the body works, how the immune system works. And then when we get educated about that, we have to understand how vaccinations play a part. Because again, it's all about a race against time. Once you get infected, you have to have the time, or your body needs that time to learn what's going on and make the adjustments. So where vaccinations come in, it's assistance, right? So there's a lot of stigma around vaccinations, but a traditional vaccine is this. It basically, you get injected with the vaccination. It gives you a weaker strand of the virus. That helps now to give time for your body to make that immune response, to start building the antibodies. So later on in the future, if you get infected, your antibodies are prepared, and this is what you call immunity, right? So that's basically, vaccinations doesn't stop you from getting infected. See, that's something that people like say, well,
I'm immune.
I mean, why should I get the vaccine and I'm still going to get infected? I could still transmit the virus as well. Vaccinations have never been created for that purpose. There's a difference, and people have to understand too, there's a difference of being infected and then the infection turning into a disease. So what the vaccination is there to do is to stop, with the antibodies, the infection turning into a disease. Doesn't prevent you from being infected or transmitting the virus.
With the COVID vaccinations, are you getting weaker? Because I've heard that it's not COVID that they're giving you.
Right. So that was a traditional vaccination, what I just explained. Now, with the new COVID vaccination, with Moderna and Pfizer, you have the mRNA. So what this does, and I love to use this comparison, all it does is basically gives the message to your cells, right? Your cells then takes this message and about the spike protein, to look out for the spike protein. It takes this information and puts it into the bloodstream, and then your immune system starts building the antibodies for it. So for instance, let's say, for instance, I'm in your neighborhood, we're neighbors, right? If I would be so lucky, right? We're neighbors. And there's a burglar. And I come to you and I say, Charlamagne, look out for the guy. This is a picture of him. If you see him, you know, he's the one that's going around breaking in everyone's houses, right? So that's me,
video.
right? And I'm giving you a message. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to put yourself on guard, right? You're either going to get an extra gun, maybe a dog, get the security system, alert your family. This is what's going on. You see this guy, let me know straight away. I don't go inside your house. So when you get all of these misinformation about saying, oh, 5 years from now, there's DNA alteration, they're putting a bug in you, things like that. The mRNA doesn't penetrate the nucleus of the cell. It stays on the outside. Just like when I come to your house, I didn't go inside your house. I stood on your doorstep,
So
but
no
I
one
gave
could
you the
come
relevant
inside.
information to put you on guard, right? So that is a simple way of letting you know, with that particular vaccination, the COVID vaccination, it gives information about the spike protein to let everyone know, hey, this is the burglar. Look
That's a
out for
great
the spike
example.
protein. If he comes around, we're on guard.
Well, Dr. Amun, are you getting vaccinated?
I'm not against it. I'm not against it. Seriously.
Okay.
And again, like I'm trying to say to people, and you made up you made a great point, Charlamagne, about holistic and herbalist. And I think people have to understand is like herbs is provided by nature, but it's also backed up by science. You see what I'm saying? There's a science to herbal medicine.
The science
It's
came
not
from
just
it.
about flinging herbs and some water and glycerine in a bottle, shaking it up and say, here's a tincture. There's a science behind herbs, okay? You have different types of herbs, different part of the plants. So science is always there. And one of the things that I think we suffer in our black community is the miseducation, okay?
Absolutely.
We don't get the resources like the STEM schools in our communities, right? They're not like promoted. You don't get pamphlets. You don't get the
They're not
encouragement.
targeting our community to
Right.
be leaders in the science world.
And
right?
that's where it's going to, break that distrust. Because should we feel apprehensive? Absolutely. As black
100%.
people, come on. This is the same institution that's killing us. Now you're telling us we got a cure, or we got a solution. So,
But you know what's important also is that we have to be intentional to make sure that fear is not radicalized against us to keep us from making decisions that actually will save our lives. When
And
you
that's where
look
the
at the
science come in.
statistics, the percentage of white people who are getting vaccines, they are getting it at alarming rates compared to our communities.
They're coming to our community to get
They're
it.
coming to take it from our community.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we have to be, there is a real irresponsibility to me even in the holistic community and the conspiracy theory community, where it's like anti, this is coming out to kill us. And the truth is they're not look at the facts, look at what's happening. Angela, you asked me about getting vaccinated. And the other thing we have to think about is not just Dr. Amun has a wonderful immune system. We're working on helping everybody to stay healthy. But you have to also think about your community, right? I got vaccinated because I had to think, okay, he said a race against time. What has the advantage in my body? Is it the vaccine that's going to have or the virus? And in my scenario, the actual virus is more dangerous to me because my body's ability to actually catch up because of the immunosuppression, the body knows how to heal itself, but because it's been inhibited, right? It's been hindered, it doesn't have the same ability to speed up and fight it at the same level as somebody else's. That's why if somebody has, whether it's asthma or something else, they're more at risk to actually suffer from it in a way that could affect their lives detrimentally, right? So I took it for my daughter. Right? I took it from my family. My daughter, she's an actress. Shout out to Authentic
she is.
Nia.
She's killing it.
Her primetime TV debut was on Queen Latifah's Equalizer recently, and she's got a recurring role on Godfather of Harlem.
She's
Forrest
a
There you
Whitaker's
go.
proud
Godfather of
mom.
Harlem.
Yep.
Proud mom. But guess what? She's out here. Look, auditions. We're on sets. I can't be the one who hinders her from living her best life. She's out here living her purpose. And you know what? She stayed home. She was in remote school all year. No complaining. But I know, mental health, the implications of a child being home, isolated from other kids, being on screen all day long. I see it. I know that for me, I want to think about how to get her back in-person school. There's a necessity of being able to interact with other people. She's an only child on top of that, right? So it's not like she has other kids in the home to interact with. And that's what I want our people to understand. There's no blanket decision here.
Right.
This is something where we have to look at each case. You have to look at your case and say, wait a minute, what is the greater offender for me? What's the greater offender, not just for me, but my community, right? Because we can't, he got the vaccine, the virus because they weren't wearing their masks, they were being irresponsible, right? So we have to say, okay, what's the right decision for me, for my community? And as people of color in this country and around the world, we have to understand we walk around in an inflammatory state.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, I got half vaccinated so far. My next shot is next week. But it was a hard decision for me to make also.
Right.
That's
and
why
you
it
know
did
why
require
it is?
for me to do a lot of research.
I really want to go back to that point what you made about the holistic side of it too. So what we find is this institution in front of us, and it's split, even within the institution itself. You've got these experts, biologists, numerologists that have been 25, 30 years in the field. They're coming out and they're telling us, don't take the vaccine. There's 1,000,001 side effects. This is, don't wear the mask. They're taking away your rights. This virus is nothing more than an influenza, a flu, a cold.
Or something that's been created. That's
right,
the
or
other thing,
something's been created in the lab, right? But
I'm not ruling that one out.
No,
but-
it
not
could
ruling
be.
that one out.
It could have been created and still have
guess
the
what,
right
though?
impact
I'm not
it
ruling
has.
out anything.
Yeah.
But one of the things I want to say to our people is that they have a responsibility, even with their peers, right? You guys had Dr. Fauci on here, right? So even with their peers, they have to produce clinical data to back up their theories or back up their claims. So if they're telling me that 5 years from now, this is going to alter my DNA, then back it up. You can't just sit on a video giving
and
all
just say anything.
giving all your credentials and this and that, and then saying these things and saying I was working with Pfizer or I was working on the Fauci and I was doing.
But YouTube makes you an expert.
But but that's so true, right? That is so true. And this is where we come to say,
true.
look, we have to dispel this. We have to get
Yes.
rid of this because science and the data is going to wipe this away. You know what's so funny? And I give you this is something I'm going to drop about this so-called herbalist, especially in the black community, right? You get them to say, well, where's your data? Where's your proof? Okay, go to the CDC website. Man, that's establishment. I ain't listening to them. Okay. You go on their website and you see a product that they're selling. And they would say, according to the CDC, because it supports what they're selling. So now the CDC is a reliable source because it
depends on the motivation. What
right.
you want it
It's
for.
supporting the product that they want to sell. But now you can't cherry pick like that. You can't pick and choose what you want to
the
say where
CDC
it
is
suits
right
you.
when-
The science is there. So if they're not producing clinical data, right, with clinical trials to say, look, we have taken this amount of people, we have done this for this period of time. This is how science works.
Would you
I don't
participate in a clinical trial? Because they say there's not enough African Americans also who participate in these trials, understandably.
Understandably, right. Now,
Understandably.
one of the things that's going to bridge that gap is getting our generation of children educated in these fields. That when I can look at and say, well, Charlamagne's daughter's my doctor, or she's a researcher, or she's a scientist, and she's telling me to take
And
the
there
vaccine.
let's acknowledge the
Right?
fact that there is a growing number of black scientists and physicians that are at the table right now.
Right.
But
And-
we're not deeply represented.
Right,
You
and
know
we
what I'm saying?
need to, and that is going to break down the barrier of distrust because now I see someone who looks like me and can understand where I'm feeling, then I'm going to trust when they say, get the vaccine. Or
And that's not
the virus is more than just a common cold, it's deadly. So that is going to start breaking down the barriers of this
And
this
that
trust.
is part of the reason why I do trust Coach Gessie and Dr. Amun when you guys come on the show. And I actually tried my first ever
But
detox.
you trust me? No, I'm only joking.
I did my first ever detox with you guys.
Right.
And it really helped. And then I recommended you to so many other people who have really literally called me. I've gotten certain engagements because they were like, Angela really helped me out when I was having some health issues.
Right.
And a lot of
Awesome.
discussions
No,
we
that
had
is-
behind the
that's-
scenes. And
yeah,
Coach
that's
Gessie
awesome.
knows I always hit her like, look, this person hit me in my DMs. They're having issues with their fibroids, whatever it is. And now I want to make sure we talk about the detox now, because part of making sure that even if you do get infected with something, you can recover from it better because your body is more equipped and prepared.
No question.
And I'm just going to say one last thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole point of us being here is this. Whether there's two sides of the coin. You see what I'm saying, Charlamagne? Whether you want to take the side of, I'm not going to get vaccine, I'm not going to get vaccinated, I'm going to allow my immune system, I think my immune system is strong enough to fight it off. Well, there's some information you need to know about that. Do you know that people who are vitamin D deficient suffers 15 times at risk more with catching COVID? People who are zinc deficient, that's 3 to 5 times, even more. So if you're going to take that route
Take care of your body.
of I'm going to rely on my immune system to fight off this virus, then please do the right things. Not just social distancing, wearing a mask, washing your hands, but have a clean lifestyle.
I like to do
Take some
both
sea
routes.
moss.
Do both.
Drink this juice.
Drink
But
this juice.
Right.
Wait.
And you know,
Angela's
you know another
juice.
thing? I'm glad you mentioned the CMOS because, again, because of lack of scientists and we don't have our labs and everything, there's all of this
Propaganda.
misinformation about CMOS having 92 minerals and, you know,
please.
it's like, come on. I mean, come on. We just got to get down to the
You can
science
even
and
search
the
it. It
data.
does have about 10 minerals, but it
You
doesn't
know,
have 92 minerals.
I mean, there's
It
like
don't?
over
Yes.
24. I mean, we had a conversation on the phone about that, right? I think you told me your brother told you had 105. You had a CMOS Plus.
Yeah,
or
that was
something like that.
Isaiah.
Right, the
Yeah,
CMOS
they're
Plus.
both-
You can search
Right?
it. It's
And
like
that has
10
like
minerals.
102. And, you know, the body only needs anything between 18 to 23 essential minerals for it to function. So anything over that, the more ingredients you have in a product, it's the more difficult and
Diluted.
complicated for your body to digest it.
So,
Simple. But-
being that ingredients, let's talk about ingredients for a minute here, because one of the things that the ways that this impacted us, you know, as a team, you know, our ethos, the detoxnow.com is, you know, the online web platform, and our philosophy is about, you know, helping people. What I say is detox living, life free of toxic thoughts, people, habits, foods. And what this really drove us to do is really, you know, Dr. Amun alluded to, is really go back in terms of deeply research all of our protocols, reformulate our supplements.
Right.
We really wanted to be intentional because what we wanted to do is make sure our people have more access, new prices, everything lowered so that people can afford it more, a better experience, because we want to make sure that, you know, we have to have our people's back.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Like, our people have to know it's not just a high and mighty, nice idea of living healthy, but it's actually attainable and accessible. Everything from our food lists have been reformulated, you know, science-wise, and, you know, making ways for people to live healthier in an easier way, all right, and a more sustainable way. I mean, I think like
one example is like, you know, we've been on here several times before, and we have like, let's take cucumber, because that's one of the ingredients in
Oh, yes.
one of your
the Daily Green
in
Glow.
the daily green. So
That's what I just drank.
right,
Yes,
so
yes, yes.
cucumber
It's
has
delicious,
got
right?
I've got this reputation of being high in estrogen, right? But you have to understand the cytoestrogen versus xenoestrogen. And cytoestrogen is
phytoestrogens.
it's a natural form of estrogen.
Yes.
So it doesn't increase estrogen dominance. It actually helps to regulate estrogen through the body. So we're going to have a whole podcast. It's called AMA Health. Ask Me Anything About Health. That's going to be coming. It's going to be in my and Jessie's Instagram and the bio links. So we're going to have that. And we're going to be discussing these things into much more detail. So, you know, you have the cytoestrogen versus xenoestrogen. Xenoestrogen is now the synthetic version, and it mimics the natural version of estrogen. But the whole point of it is re-educating ourselves. And again, one of the things I just want to keep drilling home is that we're not here to promote the vaccine. We're not here to
Education,
say we're
education.
anti or pro, or the virus is
You want to
deadly
make sure
or
whatever
not.
decision you make, you
Whatever
know why
decision
you
you
made
make,
It's
whatever
educated.
right, is just to make sure you
Informed
get
and
it.
balanced.
Inform yourself, follow the science, follow the data,
Mm-hmm.
and it will eliminate this misinformation. On that note, let's talk about the new partnership with Angeli.
Yes, so because the
Taking
detox
some
now
of
has
this
been
drink.
so beneficial to people, and because my juices are back, Drink Fresh Juice, we're actually
Hey.
teaming up to do a detox together because we know people want to have these juices. And so we are going to be using the ginger apple lemon and the daily green glow
Yes,
as part
yes.
of this juice detox.
I'm really excited about Angela. I wish I could see you right now, but I'm so excited about it because it really makes detoxing easier. All right. It puts together two of the powerhouse detox organs, it really stimulates the digestive system and the liver. Right. So the digestive and liver detox, truly, you're talking about major impact. And there are studies around juicing, right, which you can get into. But the four key things, the reasons people say it eliminates the barriers that people say why they can't do a detox or they can't live healthy is because it's difficult, the taste, right, or the time, and then accessibility. And this,
Expensive
Angela,
too. People say
right,
affordability.
right, and affordability. So this is the difficulty, right? It is portable. No prep. People hate the fact that they have to do prep.
Right.
So the fact that it's already organic, fresh pressed, healthy ingredients, healthy and nutritious. It's delicious, right?
Yeah, it's nice.
It's
I ain't
really
gonna lie.
I like that
delicious. Both of
tagline,
them
health
are.
is not the enemy of taste.
That's right. Health
That's
is
what
not
I'm
the
saying. I
enemy
love
of
that.
taste.
I love
it.
that.
And
Who
then
made that
it's-
up?
And it's
I
accessible.
think we did because in the juice bar, a lot of kids and people who have never juiced before would come in, and they would think that things would taste nasty, and they would come in for the first time, have a juice, and be like, "This is actually really delicious." People would bring in their kids, and even the kids really like these pressed juices too.
So
And it's
even-
only 7 days.
7
which is
days,
really
right?
important.
And like Gessie was alluding to earlier, there's actually studies done where people have done juice fast, and they're not just lost weight, but also they've reaped the benefits of gut flora, what we called good
Balancing the
gut
gut.
bacteria, right?
Balancing the gut
That
bacteria.
helps, and that's where all your digestive
true
and your
immune system.
nutrients and your immune system, 80% of your immune system is from the gut. So there's a lot of benefits in that. The
Skin, hair,
the skin, the
nails,
hair, and a lot of it
digestive.
being, antioxidant, anti-microbe, antibacteria, anti-cancer,
Cancer,
etc. So there's a lot of benefits doing that.
One
And
thing I
again,
realized too after doing the detox with you guys is it did change my eating habits after.
Yes.
And I encourage people, when you do a detox, don't go back to the same things you were doing before the detox and think, okay, I just did this for 7 days, now I'm back to doing whatever. Make some real lifestyle changes. And they can be smaller changes. You don't have to do anything drastic if you're not prepared for that, but that's a perfect time for a reset.
and I mean, people have to understand that detoxification is something involuntary. We're doing it from in the womb. Our body's constantly detoxifying itself. So these juices and the supplementations and that are really there to assist and support your vital organs, So you have your 4 vital organs that are involved: your liver, your kidney, your lungs, your skin, and then you have your system organs, which is your lymphatics and your digestive system, like Gessie said. So that's all what it's doing. It's really just assisting and
resetting and
supporting and
rebooting.
enhancing your
Right.
detoxification. And some of the signs that you might need to detox is having like low energy and fatigueness and bad breath and, your skin breaking out,
gain.
weight gain, bad temper,
Irregular
memory
cycles.
fog, restless nights, sweating, hormone imbalance, irregular
pressure
cycles.
elevated.
Yeah, things of that nature. So I really think that, especially right now with this pandemic, everybody's conscience and awareness of getting more healthy
true.
has
Yeah.
been in heightened. So I'm excited
So wait,
about
the
this.
official name. The name is the Detox Now Drink Fresh Juice Fast. Woo!
Yeah, and I'm gonna start it. So, and listen, I decided I'm gonna do this too. I'm gonna pay for 5 people to do it with us.
Yay!
Oh, okay.
Where do they sign up?
Oh, it's exclusively at drinkfreshjuice.com and thedetoxnow.com. Both
Right,
of our
so either
websites.
one
Why
of
you
our
went to go?
sites you can
You
go
went to go
to.
check your bank account as soon as you said that? Why you look down at your phone like?
My phone's
like,
over here. I was looking at
oh.
the detox box.
Oh, I was like, hey, looking at the cash.
Making sure.
wait.
Listen, I got a lot of investments going on. I do have to
real.
check my bank account
For
all
real,
the
No.
for
time.
real.
Man, I mean, every time I come to New York, I'm always getting security fraud alerts.
That's New York City for you.
One of my cards I had to get destroyed yesterday. Someone went into KFC, and now it wasn't me, right? But at 10 o'clock, I got this security alert trying to purchase a KFC for $40. Was this shoe? I was like, hell no. You know, this ain't me. So now... So, I mean, you just got to watch that.
I was
Stay out
not
of
checking
Brooklyn,
my
bro.
bank account.
No, I wasn't.
But
Brooklyn.
listen,
exactly.
at the end, you know, Angela,
was in Brooklyn.
also we talked about the fact that we're gonna do a private club and a member club, right? The Drink Fresh Juice private club and member club to actually help people to get it to the end, to actually do it with Angela, and I'm going to be coaching her through to it, because what a lot of people realize, this is not just something, you know, where it's easy to do for the real transformation on your own. It's about the tribe of the people that you surround yourself
Accountability.
with.
Right.
It's all about accountability. And, you know, we have the best intentions, but if the people around us are just going to KFC and they're just doing all these other
Go have some
things,
drinks.
you know, it's hard,
Yeah,
right?
it is
Right.
hard.
And we need to also understand that these symptoms are indication of internal mental health and stressors that are going on that we also need support around, right? Meaning like the body starts to break down because the effects that, you know, I have not heard more people in this environment are dealing with, you know, oh, my blood pressure is radical. Oh, my fibroids are growing like they're on steroids. Why?
Yeah.
Because of the effect of the cortisol on our body. And we really need to heal collectively as a people. And that's why we need to surround ourselves with people who are like, look, I got your back. We in this together. I can't even tell you how many DMs and private calls I'm getting like, look, I need to do even celebrities who are like,
Yes.
you know, I need to do this for me. Like, I just got back in town and I'm trying to take care of everybody else. I got to do this for me right now. And I need to know that, you know, I need to be around because so many people are depending on me. So many people are depending on me, and I want my health to be able to sustain being able to take care of other people, really.
Yeah, and I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You know, if you are living right, and what we do is actually is really been tested over the years. I can actually say that. You know, I am like a lab rat of my own work, you know, and I can honestly say that if I wasn't living the way I was living, then I don't know if I'll be sitting here, or I might have the same story that I can tell, like my experience with COVID, you know, because it's real, because I've
Right.
had people call me, they've lost their family members, they've lost loved ones through COVID, you know, and having that conversation and just experiencing that pain, that's when I'm like, when people are saying this is nothing, it's not serious, it's just a...
Yeah, it's insensitive.
Listen, I've got dudes that say, yo, keep them away from me, I'll break their jaw. Because they've lost their child.
Yeah.
They've lost their mother.
Break their
You
jaw.
can't. How do you turn around and say to someone, "This
It's not
virus
real."
ain't real, or it's
Yeah.
not severe," and
That-
they've lost someone by that?
Yeah,
Even
that's
if
the
it
thing,
was
right?
created by somebody, even if it was
Even if it was,
fabricated,
yeah.
Right.
it's
You're
Even-
gonna
still-
turn around
right.
and say to them, "How do you know though it was COVID on the death certificate? Were they suffering?" You don't start questioning. If someone says
Yeah.
to you, "My mother
Yeah.
died with COVID," yeah, but did she have any underlying health conditions? Like, was it COVID? You're gonna get your jaw cracked.
That's right.
No,
You
but
know?
yeah.
You know, so
That's the
your
thing. That's the
chin.
biggest thing, right? Whether or not you think it's man-made or it's real, whatever, it's something out there.
exactly.
So figure out a way to take care of yourself.
There you
Whether
go.
it's the vaccine, whether it's the juices, the sea moss, whatever. Figure out something.
Right. And I always think common sense and science, they work hand in hand. You got to apply common sense to this.
There's
you know?
no question.
I don't care if they want to say it's man-made, but this shut down the whole world. It shut down the whole world. It wasn't just the United
This
States.
has never happened in our lifetime.
In our lifetime.
Not
It
in our
shut down
lifetime,
the whole world. So I don't really focus on if it was man-made or if it came from hoo-ha in China. I'm like, listen, people are dying. People are being
right.
affected by this. I am getting affected by this. I got to look after minds and my people. And if you're really about your people, that's the attitude you want to look at. So yeah, we went back in the books. We made some changes. We formulated some stuff. You know, we revised some of the meal plans, the food
Oh, no, we
list, like the
totally
meal
revised
plans
the
that,
food
yeah,
list, too.
like the meal plan that you're gonna get with that juice fast, you are gonna
Oh,
be
that's right. It's going to
amazed.
include the food list and the meal plan,
Right.
as well as the liver supplement and the juices. That's important
And-
because it comes all together.
It comes as a package. And what we're trying to do now is that if you do any of our detoxes, you get quizzed. So it's like a little quiz, right? So you know exactly what I should be experiencing, what my results should be looking like, how I should be feeling. And also, if someone questions you, well, this is why I did it, because boom, 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 I had high cholesterol.
Education,
or had that.
information.
So it's education, information. I can't heal you. Gessie can't heal you. You're your own healer.
Right.
You know, we only could be on the sideline and assist to say, well, drink some of this, or
And they will
eat
assist
some
you,
of
by
that.
the way, when you
Exactly.
do these. And you
But-
can hit them up, and they're very responsive. So.
Right, but the work and the hard work comes from the individual. So that's why we try to have a support team, and we reach out to people, and we just want to encourage people that, listen, just take care of your health. Take care of yourself, seriously.
All right. Well, I'm excited for us to get started, and I thank you guys for coming up this morning.
Thank you.
know.
Wait, we
What's
have
the
to
website
cheers.
again?
Drink fresh juice.
Oh, I finished mine. But cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
What's the website again? Drink Fresh Juice?
Drinkfreshjuice.com and the
Drinkfreshjuice.com.
detoxnow.com.
And show them the liver supplement. It's in your little box.
Oh, yeah, I
That's what
have it
goes
here.
with it.
These are the
Yes.
there's supplements in here that you take.
Okay.
Yay.
All right. It's Coach Gessie and Dr. Amun. Thank you very much for coming. It's the
Hey,
Breakfast
thank
Club.
you for having us.
Thank you for having us.